Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to another deck profile. And I thought I would give my revised Galaxy list now. So essentially, I've been playing this deck in the TCG now since Jumper's release. I've had so much fun. For some reason, I'm going EXO, which doesn't really make sense. People really shouldn't let that happen. But now people are saying, "Oh, I need to max rarity the deck." So great, I'm gonna have fun doing that. But that's fine. But yeah, so I've been really enjoying using this. I think it's a decent deck, to be honest. There's more flexibility than there was before, and it's less bricky, which is perfect. So further ado, let's go into a quick rundown of the cards and before we go into some example games. So one Afterglow used to be on two, we're on one now because it's starting to get bricky. So you can it's a free extender from hand if you get a Galaxy Eyes on your field, and you can also special summon a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon when you use its Xyz material, and it can double your guys' attack points. It both comes up in extending and OTKs, so it's very useful. Three Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, we have to run through this, unfortunately, as the deck revolves around it. Nothing more to say, really, there. Galaxy Knight, this is more flexible than any of the other monsters, I would say. You don't have to run this guy, but I still do. I think it's good as a rank K maker, and I have had it come up in like quite a few games. Two Photon Emperor, I used to be on one of this, but now I'm back up to two because I found that hands, sometimes I'll be drawing into him, and I haven't got a situation where I can do something like Soldier Pitch out of hand because I don't have access to it. So I've been on two because you really don't want to have it stuck in your hand and you're not getting that second normal off it, which you sometimes really need. One Galaxy Brave, it's a extender and it can level modulate, so it's very flexible in that regard. However, note that it does have to be a photon in hand; it cannot be a Galaxy, so that's quite important. Galaxy Soldier, still an amazing card. It can search any of your Galaxy monsters. It also gets your guys you want out of the hand into the graveyard where their effects can trigger or they can be used. And you can also level modulate it using a couple of cards. So if you don't want to go Nova Infinity, that is also open to you. Photon Vanisher, we're now on three. Because we're doing a rank 4 focus strategy. The effective search Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon is nice, I guess, for card advantage or using it with Soul Flare, but it's mainly just it extends, so that's really useful. Galaxy Summoner, really powerful. It's a free reborn. It can also level modulate any of your eyes to a level 4 to go into rank 4 plays. Um, this is probably one of the key pieces now in terms of combos. And to be fair, you could run two of this instead of a Knight, but I'm liking Knight at the moment still as it is an 8. But yeah, so that's really powerful. Two Photon Orbital, you can run two or three, really. It's up to you. I'm on two personally, just because seeing two Orbital in hand is not good. But you're fine on either, really. It searches any of your monsters, so yeah, pretty good. Two Galaxy Wizard. This is something I never thought I'd see, but yeah. So now you can loop this with Galaxy Summoner. You can just keep searching off it, get all your spell and trap cards from him. So that's really useful. Its level modulation also can come in handy when it's something like Expedition in hand, but generally it'll be for that searching that you're using it. Photon Jumper. Oh my god, this card, love it. So when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to search any of your spell and traps. Yeah, that's fine. That's a good effect. People don't realize quite how powerful the skip the battle phase effect is. They're like, oh yeah, but you need to make lethal Galaxy Eyes hit really hard. You have like one rank 8 can turn into like 4 pieces of spot removal because of ranking up. You can just clear your opponent's board, make a few negates, and then pass over to them with like two with them having 2 and 3 cards, and you're in a fine position. You do not need that battle phase all the time. 3 Ash, hand traps, we need them. 1 Veiler, and 2 talents. I'll just talk about these, and 3 Imperm. I'll just talk about the hand traps and non-engine in general. I was on 3 draw instead of Effect Veiler and 2 talents, but that was specifically for where I was playing because I know people like Wombo Combo and getting it twisted. I didn't really have that much use for it, to be honest. But I think I really like 2 talents. I'm not really willing to run 3, so I'm putting a Veiler instead, but it can't really be any flex. Like, it could be a cool buy, but I'm just not a fan of cool buy at the moment, personally. That's just a personal preference thing. Anyway, back to in archetype stuff. Photon Sanctuary, one of this, it can make Aheshima, it can make Soul Flare, it could even summon Galaxy Eyes from your hand if you really need to. 2 Galaxy Expedition. You could potentially run one, but I'm still liking to summon any guy from your deck. It can just be it's just really powerful, to be honest. It's also good Ash bait if you've got other more powerful cards like Trance in hand. Your opponent will see this and they're like, oh wow, this is a strong card. Summon from deck Ash, and then you activate Trance and go nuts. Yeah, Galaxy Trance. Speaking of it, pay 2k, reborn a guy, and then summon a guy from deck. I mean, it does lock you, but yeah, your result. This is like both an OTK enabler, and you can build a board. You can make a Hope Harbinger with it after you've finished the rest of your combos. It's very powerful. So that's why we're on 2, so we can do both going first and on turn 3. Foolish Burial, which just it just sends Emperor off Jumper, or really if you need to, sometimes Galaxy Eyes. Galaxy 100 is a foolish, and the extra deck rip is actually been like really good. Just when you're summoning Galaxy Eyes, just tear a card out of your opponent's extra, or if it's a number, you get to summon it. I mean, that came up with Superdora and Baguska, but I mean, I chose to banish the Baguska anyway. It was still the card I got rid of, but it was banished. But yeah, no, so really powerful. It's one of your key starters. Or, and now for the extra, Cypher X makes your board untargetable. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You detach Afterglow going first when you make this card, and it will summon the Galaxy Eyes from deck. Cypher Blade Dragon, you rank up into it so when you're breaking boards. Same with Armor, Photon Dragon. Essentially, Cypher Dragon, Cypher Blade, and Full Armor are just all board breaking material pieces of interaction. Though Cypher Cat will be used when you rank up in Cypher X going first. But yeah, so they're all just for break your opponent's board, pop stuff if you need to. Prime Photon Dragon and Neo Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon, they're kind of in the same boat. They were both OTK enablers. However, Neo Galaxy Eyes, you can sometimes leave it up on a board if you know you're going turn 4 and 5, because it's you need stun traps throughout this guy, and sometimes your opponent just doesn't have that. So that can be huge. Hope Harbinger, Spell Negate, but you can also redirect attacks, which is kind of useful. So yeah, that's pretty good. If you want to protect your board, if your opponent does somehow get through it and you don't have a Photon Jumper in hand, Photon Lord. Oh, what? Now, actually, no. It explains to me why this card is. I'm £45. Okay, so Photon Lord. Yeah, he's a guy. He searches any of your guys, usually Photon Jumper if you don't have it already in your opponent's turn, and it's also just a monster negate, and he can be hard to out when he's not destroyed by card effects. So yeah, just an all-around amazing card. The one guy I'd consider playing 2 of in the extra, aside from Soul Flare, if you wanted to. And then we've got the Nova Infinity package. Some people opt not to play this. I still think it's very useful because having an Omni and anti-evenly card is big. And also just the Infinity's interaction of sucking up a guy can be very useful in breaking particular boards. Galaxy Photon Dragon, oh my god, this card is also amazing. Just detach and add or send a Photon Galaxy card, and it calls to level modulate. I mean, there's nothing really more to say. I mean, it gets 500 attack as well, which puts Starliege Photon Blast Dragon, the next card, over to 2300 attack. And it's essentially, yeah, when it's summon the guy from your hand, I haven't often had it come up. I've more just had it come up where your opponent can't target or destroy monsters with 2000 or more attack. And when Photon Dragon's on the field, this is also over 2000 attack. So this guy's just made your whole field practically immune to most effects unless they don't target and destroy. Of course, Mirror Jade and other interactions, Zeus will do it, but we shouldn't be letting our opponent get that far. It can also summon a banished Galaxy Eyes if it gets Bestialed, or one in the grave, but usually you'd keep it in the grave for other effects. Unless you want to 100 your opponent on their turn, which is very funny. Just rip a card out there extra right before they use it. 2 Soul Flare, you really want to be on 2 of this, because sometimes I've had loads of games where the second comes up. When it's linked, just get a guy back from your grave, which can be very useful, because you can loop Summoner back to your hand for further use. You can also get your extra deck guys back up if you're not, if you still need them. What's it called? Because the only ones you really wouldn't need to are Lord and Hope Harbinger, because Summoner can summon them and they'll have their negate effect still online, because Lord will just attach a card during their opponent's turn. And Ahashima as another extender. If you've got a weird hand, I'm not considering cutting this at the moment. I've had it come up a lot. It is also just very useful. Side deck's kind of generic at the moment. It's 2 Thunder King, 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Harpies, 3 Cosmic. We're on a lot of back row hate. This deck does not like the back row very much. 3 Goes and 3 Anti-Spell, 1 Tachyon. My theory behind having a lot of going first cards is our hand traps are the going second cards. We play Thunder King and Lightning Storm, but yeah, like hand traps are supposed to stop it. You also could considering this deck's also just I've literally just changed this deck. You can also put something like take out a Cosmic and the 2 Thunder Kings for a draw. I think that's for 3 draws. That's also perfectly acceptable. I'm just kind of doing this on the spot because I really want to get this out there because I'm just having a load of fun playing the deck, so I thought I'd just get straight to it. So let's hop into some games and see how it goes. Okay, so our first replay is against Horus, question mark? No idea what's going on with the opponent's deck, but our hand is yeah, our hand's an interesting one right there. But we're going second here. We lost a die roll. They're going to have to regain. They trigger Rebellion, and I'm just like, oh shit, it's Dragon Link. Oh no, we're activating Pharaonic Sarcophagus. What the hell is this? So they're going to do some Pharaonic Sarcophagus stuff to get these guys onto the field. They're going to Magnemite. And we are going to use the Effect Veiler here because we do not want them searching a Bestial. From this point, we can tell they're not really going to be on any interaction apart from possibly a Beast, but who knows? So we just want to get a Bestial out of the equation. They make Hope Harbinger. Forgot they can make rank 8s when you have level 8s, but we'll go Soldier here, pitching one of the 3 Vanishers. Regain will summon back Magma, and Magma will search Wizard. Magma will trigger, doesn't matter, because we're not going to a turn 3. Some Banisher, search Galaxy Eyes, which we'll just see if Expedition resolves. No, Hope Harden Gates. That's fine, Galaxy Wizard. We know what we're doing here. We just need to get Galaxy Eyes on field, so we just hard summon it, and then we make Afterglow. We make Prime Photon. yeah, I get attack points. Yeah. So this was just to demonstrate the sheer OTK potential of this deck. It's still there. It's still powerful, and it's more consistent than ever. Don't leave your guys in attack, I guess. Yeah, nothing more else to say about that. Just you can play it around like basic interruptions and go for very simple lines if you know you're going for lethal. You don't need to make elaborate combos. If all you need to do is a couple of inherent summons, which doesn't result in your opponent having anything to negate. Our next replay is against Exosister, and unfortunately, well, yeah, Shifter and Ash. Shifter is such a travesty for this deck. I mean, we could... Right. So Wizard was negated. They go in for Michaelis. We're going to Imper Michaelis here. We're going to stop that. The opponent has talents and Nib in hand, but we don't know that. So they make a Zeus and they pass up here. And we're like, oh yeah, great. We have full combo. We can go and win the game from here. Because even through Zeus, like the opponent, yeah, I thought the opponent was Zeus there. So like, fine, let's trance. Let's just fucking nuke them all. And go ham on card advantage. No, they drew a rock. So yeah, now we're in monkey game state. Dark Ruler, yes, Dark Ruler the token. So that is not a draw we want to see right there. So we're just going monkey beat down. We just keep fighting, and unfortunately, our opponent's drawn playable Exosister. So they go Michaelis search, and then they'll banish Nib. And at this point, I think we scoop it up. So key thing here, Shifter, very bad, very very bad. Travesty for the deck. You're usually just walling up. You can sometimes, and you can usually make your way to a Lord. Unfortunately, our opponent had more than Shifter. They had Ash as well. But also, yeah, I'm just surprised about the Nib, to be honest. Well, I did not see that coming. This is also an argument for one Emperor, one Expedition, but I still think this is sort of the exception. But yeah, no, that's just sort of showing that when you're running into Shifter, this is that's not a good time. No, we want to avoid Shifter at all cost. Okay, and our final duel is against Runic. Now, we don't know this yet, but Horus. Because for some reason, everyone for the past 4 hours has been playing Horus, and I do not want to keep searching for a Kashtira matchup. Though I guess a Rise Heart Pass is just an FTK against us if we don't draw non-engine. Or just, like, a way to get to Galaxy Eyes and then and Afterglow. And they actually let us get there. But anyway, so we'll go with this, because in theory it's a competent deck. So we're summoning Wizard here. We're going to Search Soldier, we'll pitch Emperor, Soldier 1, Emperor 2, traditional, chain block the Soldier, so we're going to grab Summoner. Summon Summoner, these are traditional lines, and the main combo you expect. Search Wizard, Search with Wizard, then we can modulate Soldier and make Galaxy Photon, add the Expedition, our missing spell, and we just instigate our combos. Now, we fucked up here. Let me explain. So, Expedition should have summoned Afterglow, and then using Emperor and Afterglow, we go into Cypher Dragon and Cypher X Dragon, trigger Cypher X Dragon, our board is protected from targeting, and we get some Galaxy Eyes from deck, we get to go ham from there. And we'd also had Trance online. So our end board, in theory, should have been Lord, Harbinger, our insulated field, and a Soul Flare, plus like 3 or 4 good powerful cards left in hand. We didn't do that. That is my mistake, but I'll just explain. That's the line we should have gone for there. I guess this is the way you'd kind of nib-proof the combo, though, in a way. Just summoning Lord first if you want to do that. To be fair, it's still a fine board, because you're very well protected against sort of your opponent OTKing you, because we've got the Lord Search, we've got Galaxy Eyes to pitch off Soul Flare. We're pretty good. So we get Kaiju'd. I'm fine with that. Every Kaiju I've been Kaiju'd with so far has been a level 8, so that always makes me happy. So we're just going to go Runic Ishizu lines. They're going to start sending stuff, doing Runic things. They'll trigger my jumper, thank you much. They'll activate Phantom here to destroy the Photon Dragon, sure. I'm most concerned about being milled out here. They draw 3 cards and double blast. Get fucked out. I've only just seen this replay, but so they didn't reach Pharaonic Sarcophagus, which is very strange, but we'll hope Harbinger just negate here, because otherwise we won't get an opportunity to. They'll recycle stuff. Yeah, those are cards. They'll Destruction 100. I mean, I guess it's the only thing you can really effectively Destruction. We're prepared to just go for the big lethal lines here, but we don't need to. So that's kind of a swift victory there. But yeah, no, well, I mean, I'm tired, okay? I wanted to try and find a better replay, but this is all we got. But that's essentially showing you what full combo, in theory, should have been if I'd played it right. I mean, your full combo is essentially Soldier plus Jumper or Soldier plus Emperor. Both accomplish the same thing, though Soldier plus Jumper feels a lot nicer usually. But when you're working with an extra Expedition or something in hand, then suddenly it becomes a whole lot better. Okay, so my final thoughts on the deck are it's definitely in a better spot than it was. I'm really enjoying playing with it. You still do have occasional games when you do have bricks because that's what happens when you run 7 to 8 level 8 monsters. Um, it can lose to hand traps if you're interrupted early on with a bad hand. However, it can play through interruption fine. Like it's probably one of the best decks I played apart from Punk Zombies that can play through Droll. Because you just foolish stuff and profit off of that instead. You do not need to use the ad effects; they're just more beneficial. You're still getting to a fine end board. I'm liking the amount of non-engine that's available. And it's very much up to you. I'd suggest catering it to whatever event you're going to. Because for example, in my locals, I will take out Talents and the Veiler for Droll because everyone likes playing combo, and so I just stop them with that. But of course, if you're going to a higher tier event, you don't know what's happening. Cater it to whatever you feel is best for the format. I think that there's some room for flexibility with different deck options and deck building options. There is some funny stuff you can do with what's it called, Photon Time Stop, where you can make an artifact Durandal and force your opponent to pop Time Stop, which will skip their turn. So that's an interesting side option you can opt for. I personally prefer just boarding into Floodgates. It does fine. Anti-spell almost comes just the same thing unless your opponent draws specifically Cosmic and you don't have a Hope Harbinger up. But yeah, so I'm really happy with the way the deck is at the moment, and I'm surprised at how competent it is. It's been doing really well. But I would also appreciate any feedback on the list currently. Um, I am figuring out where I want to put. I think I want to try and fit Droll into side with the current list as a general list. But apart from that, I would appreciate any feedback on sort of how you'd play it, what ratios, all that sort of stuff. Also, any tech ideas, because I've seen a lot of people experimenting with seals and amorphages as well, that's very funny. I tried doing that before the new support was out because linking into seals is a good way to pass your turn if you get nuked into interruption. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this informative, and I'll see you guys in the next deck profile.